Let's now talk about the methods that we used in our test. Notice line 45 in our tests.py. This is items is equal to item.objects.all. So what this does, like I said before, is it gets all the records of all instances or all rows of the database table that holds our item data. So the item variable is or contains a query set. Okay, so Django has this concept of query set. A query set is basically a collection of objects from the database. And when we create or when we use or when we have a query set, we essentially, this is equivalent to the results of doing a select statement. And query sets are constructed via a models manager. All models have a manager which handles creation of query sets, and the default one is called objects. So if you don't declare any manager on your model, you will still have that objects manager in there. Okay. So query sets have a bunch of methods that allow you to modify the results that you could get. For example, in this we already know about all, but there are others that modify those results. For example, if I say item.objects.get, and then I provide some variable, some value here, some value here, okay, that will give me a single record. In other words, it's not giving me a query set, okay? But there are others that modify the query set. So for example, I don't want to get everything. I have the filter method, okay? Or, so that modifies the where clause. Or I could also have the results in a different order. So that's done by using the order by method. So we put in here the field that we want to order it by. Okay. We also have a values list. Okay. So going back to order by first, order by is basically the order by clause in SQL. Okay. And the values list method, okay, you put in here all the columns or all the attributes that you want returned. In other words, that is changing your query such that it's now no longer a select star or select asterisks from the table. Okay, so for example, if we have something like this, and then I just wanted the text, that's essentially select text from item. Okay, if I did something like this, let's say filter id is equal to 1 dot values, that is select text from item where id is equal to 1. And then we can actually modify it further. We can do item.objects.filter dot order by, and oh, wait, does not make sense because we only have 1. So let's say id in, let's give it 2 values. Okay, and then let's say we order by the id, and then we want it descending. Okay, so it looks something like that. So our code would look something like select text from item where id in, let's give it a list, something like that, order by id, Okay, so those two are equivalent. But for the sake of our test, we obviously just want to get everything. Okay, to simplify it. So now we can try and run our tests. Okay, so let's save that again. Let's try and run our test. Python manage.py test. And then we'll get an error that says we cannot import item. In our next video, we will try and fix that by creating our first model.